My name is Chad Nicely, and I've been an online marketer since about 1998, both off as well as online. But what I'm known for these days is I'm also the founder of a platform called Everlesson. We have a cool technology that is just being released this year called Mint. I'm also the founder of a platform called Lead Conversion System. You're going to hear about an incredible platform called Letterman.ai. We also have a quiz tool called Quizforma, Revolver closing tool, and so much more. So to sum this up, I guess that I am known as the software guy, right? So that's who I'm going to play here on this call today. I'm sure this guy right here needs no introduction. Barry Belcher, what's happening, Chief?
Man, I'm just trying to scramble like crazy, as we all are, I guess. I did a post. This all came to be from me doing a post on social that said, hey, who wants to know how we publish 19 newsletters a day with 2 outsourcers? And almost like 800 and some people commented on that post. I got a screenshot of it in here. I'll show you. So that's how that came to be. So a lot of you guys that are on here, I know me already. For those of you that don't, I was one of the founders of Digital Marketer with Brian Dice. I've done a lot of stuff before that, but for this industry, people know me from there. I started the Driven Mastermind, the War Room Mastermind initially, and eventually became the Driven Mastermind. Native Commerce is our newsletter company, newsletter and media publishing company. Scale Winds, my outsource company, out on conventions.com, GraphicSmart, and 11 other random companies, some of which make money, some don't. You know how that goes. If you got a bunch of these things, they're like kids. You never get 2 of them you never get all your kids running in a straight line. These companies are exactly the same way. Why you might want to listen to some of what I got to tell you. I've had 4 major exits for a total of $41 million in exit value in the last 5 years. That's just the last 5 years. I've sold some stuff before that, but honestly, it wasn't enough to add up to enough. I had partners in most of these businesses. I didn't get to keep all this money. If I did, I probably wouldn't be here, just for what it's worth. What I want to talk to you guys about today is the only way that I know to start a successful online business today with little or no investment and actually succeed. I was really lucky when I started online because I started in 1998, if you can believe that. I don't even know how many years that is that I've been selling online now. 1997, really, 1998, I made my first dollar, I think. So it was really easy then. You just had to be in front of the wave, right? And that's what I want to talk to you guys about, why I believe this is probably the biggest wave available for people who are starting, but not just people who are starting, to take advantage of all the new AI technology in a way that's practical, right? Everybody's hearing about AI this, AI that, but they're not hearing about practical uses of it. How can I actually take AI and make me money right now? Not getting my robot to mow my lawn and all that crap, but what can I really do with the current AI that's out there in the market right now to earn money? And this also is a great way, if you already have a business, to add a revenue stream to any business you have that really won't cost you a dime, to add this really big revenue stream. And I think you'll understand by the time, if I do my job right, by the end of the call, you'll recognize that not only will you add a revenue stream, you'll multiply the revenue streams that you already have, because this model allows you to stay in constant contact with your customers. And if you're an agency owner or want to be one, learning this skill and the tools to do it is an amazing done-for-you agency model. So you can make newsletters for the people, because everyone has a newsletter now. If they don't have a newsletter, they're getting a newsletter. Everybody wants one, but most people don't know how to do it, at least with new technology. So they're doing it very manually, and it's not necessarily very easy to do in a manual process. So like I said, I posted the other day, who wants to know how we publish 19 profitable newsletters daily with just 2 VAs? And 869 of you guys said you did. So that's why we're doing a call. So let me start with telling you about this is the biggest mistake ever. I made so many mistakes, I can't even count which ones are the biggest ones. But this is one of my biggest mistakes ever. I started a company. I bought a company called Survive in Place from a friend of mine, Mike Oxner, who's a brilliant guy. And I started in the blogging business, the media site business, about probably 8 years ago. And I really did it because of this guy right here. Does anybody know who this is? Anybody want to comment who that is? Now, if you're an Ignite member, you can't say, Sean, I see you typing because I already told you. So this is Randolph Hearst. So he started a little company called Hearst Publishing. That's the largest magazine publisher in the world. They also own television stations, radio stations, and newspapers. He started off by owning one newspaper, I think in Philadelphia, and he built it into the biggest media empire in the world. And I've been fascinated with his story my whole career. And I've been trying to figure out ways to duplicate it. So I took the Randolph Hearst model of building giant media companies, and I decided to build a giant blogging company called Native Commerce. And I did that about 8 years ago. Now, for what it's worth, Native Commerce over its years has grossed over $250 million. So it's not been a failure. It's been an actual pretty good success, but it's bell curved out. And over the last 3 or 4 years, we've made less and less and less money every year, which is something I don't like. I'm not a fan of that. And I realize now really why that was. For the same reason that the newspaper portion of the Hearst business is suffering. It's because, there's been a decline in the way people consume news. Today, if you don't own your media, if you don't own your audience, nothing else is going to work for you. And there's no way to own it like a newsletter. Traditional email lists, we were taught forever, the money's in the list, was kind of sort of true, but not really anymore, because how many of you guys on here have an email list right now that you have a hard time mailing it without your mails going to spam or being blocked or people not seeing it, your emails because you're not going to the priority inbox? True with almost everybody, right? So without an audience, nothing else will work. And the newspaper industry has followed the trend of the blogging industry almost identically. The newsletter industry was a $30 billion industry in the 50s. So it only ever got up to 70 billion around 2000 and then began declining. And there's a really good reason for that. I'll explain as I move through. New media has just replaced old media. The way people consume media today is different than it used to be. Who had an old television like this? Anybody ever had a console TV? I'm the only old dude in the place where a TV used to be furniture. That wasn't a TV, wasn't a media source. It was a piece of furniture. That Curtis Mathis thing weighed 9,000 pounds, and if you sneezed on it wrong, my grandmother, don't you sit close to the screen? You could feel the heat coming off that thing. I remember as a kid, I'd sit in front of it 2 inches away. But YouTube and Netflix have really replaced television for the most part. Streaming television, anyway. Broadcast television practically doesn't exist anymore. When's the last time somebody watched ABC, NBC, or CBS other than on cable? It practically doesn't exist, right? And then radio, right? So radio was a giant media that got replaced by Spotify and podcasts. Spotify, Apple Music, whoever your music provider is, and podcasts. So everything's went to streaming. People want to choose their own adventure, right? So that's been replaced. And then newspapers, everybody assumed newspapers were going to be replaced with blogging. But guess what? That was a giant fail. It worked for a while, but just like newspapers, blogging is very much on the decline. And there's an obvious reason why. WordPress made it so easy to put a blog out that millions and millions of people did. But if you want to go read a blog, you have to remember to go read it. It's like remembering to go downtown and pick up a newspaper or pick up a magazine that they give away at the supermarket or something. You tend not to do it. You tend not to see value in it. You pay a lot of attention to your newspaper if you still get one. Why? Because it gets thrown on your doorstep every day. That's the big difference. And that's why you're seeing all these bloggers now switching to newsletter publishers. And this has been a trend that's been happening over the last 24 months or so, that practically every blogger today has a newsletter and they don't really blog anymore. They know that they can send out content in their newsletter and people are going to get it because it's going to land on the front step, or in this case, your email box, right? And if it's good content and it's not just pitch, Google's going to welcome that into their inbox and their priority inbox. And people are actually going to get to see what it is that you're giving them as far as the content goes. And then just like a newspaper, just like radio, just like television, you're going to weave in advertising and offers, right? Instead of if you think about it, it's been so stupid the way people have handled email, including me, right? I'm king culprit, right? I built all these blogs expecting people to go to the blogs. And they did for a while because it was novel. And then I would just hammer them with offers to buy stuff by email. That model is as dead as fried chicken, as my Uncle Verge used to say. It doesn't work anymore. If you just send offer after offer after offer to people, they're just going to stop answering. They're going to stop reading your emails. They're going to block you. They're going to mark you as spam. Doesn't matter. You cannot win the game that way anymore. It is over. That's why the newsletter business is so exciting right now, because it's different. You're just like the newspaper. You're delivering the news. You're delivering information people want and interjecting your offers and advertising inside of it. Newsletters aren't a terribly new topic in online, but the way they're being handled now is completely new. The model is completely different, and you're going to learn all about it today. I'm going to try to be as quick as I can and get you off here with a bunch of info and the ability to go do this if you want to. So number one, there's practically zero startup cost to a newsletter, to an email newsletter. It costs very little. You have to learn a few skills, but that's about it. Your cost to deliver the newsletter compared to the cost of buying a printing press and starting a newspaper back in the day. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, Mr. Paxton in my little hometown of Paducah, Kentucky, was the richest man in town. He owned the Paducah Sun. He owned the newspaper. He had political power. He had respect. He had wealth because he controlled media. Elon Musk just paid $44 billion for Twitter because he wanted to own media. The New York Post right now is owned by Jeff Bezos. Do you think these people are stupid? I mean, powerful people want to own media. And today, you can own media. By the end of this call, by the way, you'll be able to own media in your own little narrow media. You know, I got a text yesterday from one of our mastermind members, and they've got a sourdough bread newsletter, right? And I forget, Chad, I don't know if you recall the numbers, but it was crazy how they've already got like, I don't know, 2,000 subscribers or 1,800 subscribers or something like that. Their newsletter, they're making money already. They're getting advertisers, they're selling stuff. And they just started like 30 days ago. And that thing's just going to grow and grow and grow. Basically, there's two kinds of newsletters. We'll get into this in a little bit, but there's newsletters that actually publish news, that like daily news, like sports, politics, things like that. And then you've got newsettes, I would call them, which are more like magazines, right? Where you can talk about sourdough bread making. You can talk about pickleball. You can talk about surfing. You can talk about your favorite Key West resort. You know, you can do all these things. So there's practically no cost. This bolts on to any business. If you don't have a newsletter in your business right now, you're missing revenue opportunity, and you're also not connecting deeply with your buyers. And whoever does connect with them on a regular basis via newsletter will take your customers, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So you don't only want to think about this from gain, you want to think about it from a point of survival, because your business won't survive if you're not communicating to your customers regularly. And that's just a fact. Somebody else will. The good news is, when I started doing email stuff and building newsletters, it was very time consuming. You had to have writers. My bill for my writers used to be $70,000 a month, and most of them were out of the United States. I mean, we had a lot to do the media work that we did in blogging. I can do all of that today. We do it every single day with AI and something called RPA, robotic process automation. RPA sounds complicated, but it's really not. Can do all that work for us for about $2,000 a month. My cost has shrunk by 90+%, right? By using AI and RPA. And the other thing that's really interesting. You should not really need an email newsletter list unless you had something to sell. Today, that's not true. There are advertising platforms that will pay you to put ads in your newsletters. Even if you don't have anything at all to sell, you can just go to the advertising platform, tell them about your newsletter, how many subscribers you have, and they'll pay you to put ads in that newsletter. So you don't even have to go out and get advertisers anymore. Several of the revenue streams, there are a lot of revenue streams, I'll cover those in a minute, are the revenue streams are automatic. Next, newsletters are amazing for list health because you're sending out usable, helpful content to people on a regular basis that are interested in. And Chad's going to blow your mind with something in a minute about how he's kind of Instagramming in this process. And Chad, for those people that are on here that know, that are in our Ignite group or know who Chad is, if somebody in there will give Chad some props, that'd be cool, because Chad's a mad scientist, man. He's an absolute nutty genius that is 100,000 times smarter than me. And the big one here for me, I told you earlier, I've done $41 million with the exits. I'm at a point in my career, in my life, I don't care about making more money. I have enough money as far as regular income goes. I don't need income. I like to get that one big paycheck on exit. And I've exited now 4.5 companies. I've exited 4. I got 1 in due diligence. But newsletters are selling. Major corporations are buying newsletters like crazy. And I'll show you proof of that in just a few minutes. So you can build a newsletter asset that you not only build the asset, but they have really big, high formulaic values for sale. So everybody here should do this. When you get off this call, if you don't start a newsletter, you're just dumb, in my opinion, or you don't want, or you just hate money and fuzzy puppies, right? You should really do this. And we help people to do this, but you don't have to have us to help you to do it. You should do it no matter what, right? There are people on this call that we've helped to start newsletters. And there are a lot of you on here that you'll go do your own thing. Either way, I don't really care what you do. At the end, just do the dang thing. I say just do the do, right? It's not hard. Earning and exiting is the biggest reason why. There are not very many businesses today that you can earn and exit. Most businesses never sell. Only about 4% of businesses ever sell. But with newsletters, you can earn a lot of money while you're building exit value. And that multiple is crazy. I'm going to give you an example. This is one of my favorite examples in the world. Great story. This young lady started this newsletter called The Newsette. It's thenewsette.com, I think it is. And if you get a chance, you should go there and subscribe to it. It's really interesting. It's a women's magazine. Fundamentally, it's cosmopolitan in 3 thumb swipes on your phone. That's what it is. And the technology is so simple to do this. You don't need a website. Her entire website is one landing page. You're looking at the entire website for the Newsette. And then daily, she sends out a newsletter. Do you think that content going out privately to her subscribers is seen as more or less valuable? It's exclusive content just for subscribers. It's not posted for the world to go see anytime they want to. It's more private. It's more intimate. And she figured this out. This girl was 23 years old when she started this in her New York City apartment with 2 roommates. She had $15,000 on credit cards. I think she said she never spent all the $15,000. She had to learn the technology. There wasn't existing AI technology out there and all the stuff that there is now. That Chad will turn you on to. He's the tech guy. He's the tech brains. I'm just a dang old sales guy, right? But she started this kind of crudely. But if you go into her newsletter, it's really simple. It's just a bunch of little snippets that lead you out to other articles. She doesn't create a lot of original content. This is what it looks like. If you look here, you can see all those different links inside there. Those all go out to places with other people's content. And in some of these cases, those links make her money, right? And a great deal of it. All right, a great deal of it. So you can see this is kind of what one issue of the newsletter looks like. Now, in a minute, Chad's going to show you how you can create a newsletter like this in about 5 minutes a day with the proper AI tools. Let's see how she did. The Newsette's valuation is now $200 million 36 months in. The Newsette's 36 months old, and it's worth $200 million. She grossed $40 million last year off one singular newsletter, one singular free email newsletter. Now, I know you're probably not going to believe me when I tell you that. So you can go Google the Newsette valuation, $200 million. She quoted in this story, luckily, I didn't raise money is what she's saying. Instead, using a $15,000 loan from my parents through affiliate partnerships with companies like Fidelity and Ulta. She uses Ulta. She has Ulta affiliate. She's an affiliate for Sephora and all those. Pearson grew the Newsette into a media powerhouse valued at $200 million, 500,000 subscribers, and $40 million in revenue in 2021. This is in 2021. I don't know what they're up to now. So this young lady is going to be a billionaire before she's 30 because she started an email newsletter. Probably heard about other opportunities you can do online and things like that. I don't know anything that can get you there more than this. I really, really, really don't. Unless you have millions and millions of dollars to invest in e-commerce or millions and millions of dollars to invest in software. But starting with practically nothing, I don't know anything else that works like that. There's a company called The Hustle that a buddy of mine, Sam Parr, started. He sold it to HubSpot for it was 27 million. He sold one newsletter to HubSpot, I think about 2 years into the newsletter. Milk Road was a newsletter for Bitcoin, people talking about Bitcoin. This one was pretty amazing because it sold for $10 million in 10 months. $10 million in 10 months, right? And you got to remember, these guys all made money along the way, right? But my favorite one of all is this one called Industry Dive. They had 28, I think it's 28 newsletters. I can never see it right on this screen, but it was 28 newsletters. They sold the bundle of 28 newsletters for $525 million. Now, I know a lot of you guys are on here going, I didn't come here to learn about $50 million and all that. I want to make $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month or $20,000, something like that. Some amount of money that people can wrap their heads around. Well, all these people started these things the exact same way. They just had a runaway. They had a runaway that really grew faster than they thought it would. And guess what? They're done for life. They're done forever. They never have to worry about money again as long as they live. Now, am I going to tell you that you're going to sell your newsletter for $50 million or $200? Hell no. I don't know if you'll ever sell the thing or not. I don't care if I ever sell mine. In fact, they're kind of annuities to me. They just make me money every day. And if I want to start more of them, I just have to come up with an idea and the AI does all the work. I do a little bit of setup and the AI does all the work. So I don't care if they make $10 a day. Doesn't matter to me. I'll just start more, right? If you fail at this, you make a couple $100 a day on a newsletter. Well, guess what? What if you started 10 or 5 or 2 or 3? Right? Let the AI do the work. Hire a VA to help you like we do. Man, this is the greatest business. I freaking love this business. Anyway, so why are these newsletters selling for so much money? Because brands want to own media. They're right now, they're paying billions in advertising fees to these newsletters and to online platforms. They want to own media. So if they can just own the media, they don't have to pay the advertising fees. And they have lots of cash right now, so they have the ability to do it. And owning media is everything. I want to show you this because I hope that he's on here. This is my son, Ben Belcher. He's a fitness influencer. And I'm going to embarrass him if he's on the call right now. But if you look down here, look on the left column, 3 videos down. Do you see that video where he's in front of a piece of exercise equipment that says 10M on it? That means 10 million people viewed that video of him working out in a gym. And he called me all very excited about it. I'm really proud of him. I love this boy. I'm proud as I can be of him. And I asked him how much money he made from it. And guess how much he made? You want to guess? It's a nice round number. He made zero. On 10 million video views, he made $0 because he's not moving these people from these social media platforms. Everybody's spending all their time on social media trying to get likes. Likes ain't worth a plug nickel, right? Likes won't buy you a Starbucks. He could be moving people over into a newsletter right now and probably make 5 figures, 6 figures a month by moving people into a fitness newsletter. And I'm helping him with that now. But you know how kids are. Kids are like, Dad, I'm going to do it my way. You know, forget all the people who pay me 25 grand a day to come to my house to tell them how to drive their businesses. No, Dad, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to go do it my way. I love him. I'm glad he's independent, but he's bonehead too. And if you're on here, I love you, son. Please don't hate me. All right. I know he's like, I'm going to put you in a home one day, old man. But I was talking to him the other day and I said, son, what you're doing is like, you're walking into a bar or a coffee shop with 100 pretty girls. They're all looking at you and winking at you, which is what's happening here. And then you're walking out the door. You're not getting phone numbers from any of them. You have no way to contact them. So while all that attention feels good, there's no money in it. You need to move these people into owned media. And here's why you need to do it right now. Because advertising platforms are willing to pay you for the eyeballs that you get into these newsletters. There's zero selling required right now to make a living with newsletters. This, again, screenshot from Google. And you can go Google these same terms. CPM means cost per 1,000 views, not cost per million. People misunderstand that. CPM is a Roman numeral for 1,000. So, or Latin or something like that. You get paid as an advertiser between $15 and $30 per 1,000 newsletters you send out. So if you've got a 10,000 person list and you send out, somebody wants an ad in your newsletter, they're going to pay you about $300 for that ad. And that to send that newsletter out to 10,000 people is going to cost you about $1. You're going to pay an ESP about $1 to send out an email. Somebody's going to pay you $300 to send. Okay. And this is Google this. Don't believe anything I tell you. Everything here, I try to make screenshots from Google for, so you'll understand that this is all accurate information. So there's one of the bigger companies is called Paved. And once you've published a newsletter, you go to Paved and you just tell Paved, have a newsletter about this or that. And what's happening is these big brands, they're not going to contact you individually. They're going to call a company like Paved. Like a good example for us, we own homemaderecipes.com is one of our newsletters. And we see like Kraft Foods. Kraft Foods will come into Paved and say, hey, we're going to announce Kraft's new lobster macaroni and cheese, right? And we want to buy 50 million newsletters this week. So anybody who's got a newsletter about cooking, we're going to pay you X to put our ad or our recipe in your newsletter. And all I have to do is say, okay, I'll take the money. That's all I have to do. It's really that simple. So if you're into something, no matter what you're into, it's good if you're into it. You don't have to be into what you're publishing, but it's good if you're into it. If you're into bread baking, or if you're into, I'm into bread baking big time right now, weirdly enough. But if you're into pickleball, if you're into crochet, it doesn't matter. There's somebody willing to pay you. Post Apex is another one. They're an up-and-comer right now, another advertising platform. Live Intent actually reads your newsletter and places ads in it based on the content of your newsletter and then pays you the advertising fee. So there's a bunch of these buy-sell ads. You can work directly with advertisers over here. So these platforms, and there's a dozen more that have started that I didn't put into here. The thing is, when you own the newsletter and you have the eyeballs, you're in the catbird seat, right? You get to dictate the prices and what you're willing to take for advertising. And you're not only going to place one advertisement in that newsletter. That $15 to $30 CPM is usually for the top placement, but you may have 2 or 3 other placements down the newsletter. Now, those placements you're going to sell cheaper, but in aggregate, you might be able to get $50, $60 in aggregate from all the ads in one newsletter, $50 to $60 per 1,000 subscribers. One of our members, Brian Neff, I don't know if he's on or not, Brian's built up, I think, close to 50,000 subscribers in about 60 days to his Key West newsletter. And guess what? He's got advertisers, hotels and restaurants and excursions and things like that. People that have money to spend in advertising, think he's got 50,000 at, say, $20 a thousand. That's $1,000 every time he hits send on an email if he wants to take advertiser money, but he can also run his own offers. But anyway, it's really, really easy to start up. So all you have to do is choose a market. So this is kind of what I would advise you to do if you're choosing your market. By the way, I'm not, this whole thing is a true educational experience. You're going to learn exactly how we approach this stuff. So I'm just going to bear it all for you. So what do people care about right now? I follow a lot of trend watching, like trends.co and Google Trends, to see what people care about and how many people care about that thing. Is it something big? Like sourdough bread making is huge, weirdly enough. And when you think about that, newsletters are global, right? You can send an email to anywhere on the globe, even the weirdest small little bitty markets like cheese making. There's a huge cheese making newsletter that everything can be a specialty. Is this becoming more or less popular? I want to be working with things that are new and becoming more popular. How crowded is the space? Are there already a lot of newsletters around whatever I'm doing? The truth is right now, there's not that many newsletters. There are a lot of newsletters, but by comparison of podcasts or blogs, there's maybe a couple 100,000 newsletters in existence on the web. And you've got, 6 million podcasts and 200 million blogs. I'll tell you, everything I've ever done in my life that I've been successful at has been because I rode a trend. It hasn't been because I was smarter than the other guy. It's because I recognized a trend and I rode the hell out of that trend while it was popular. So right now, there's supply demand. There's more demand for newsletters than there are newsletter publishers. So again, that's advantage like number 2, I guess. How high value are the customers? I can't stress this one enough. One of our publishers publishes a pickleball newsletter, and he took all of his subscribers and ran them through a Nielsen rating, and he found out the average home value of his subscriber, Chad knows, but I think it was like $477,000 was their average home value, or some number like that. They're all living in luxury homes. So here's the craziness, right? You're thinking, well, yeah, but it's pickleball. What are you going to sell them? Well, watch the Golf Channel on Sunday. The advertisers are not golf ball companies and golf club companies. They're Rolex, KPMG, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Keller Williams Real Estate, Federal Express. So that's an affluent market. This is a market that has a lot of money, right? So they're not always playing pickleball. Sometimes they're deciding what new watch they're going to buy or what new car they're going to drive, right? So there's a lot of advertising opportunities here. And decide if you're going to publish daily news or a magazine. There's a lot of advantages to publishing a magazine. I would tell you it's better to start with a magazine. Daily news is hard. We do a lot of daily news. We do sports, politics, finance, stock trading, stuff like that. These are very lucrative markets, but they require a lot more editorial pain in the butt because we have to get up in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, get content out because that's got to be fresh news. Where if you're publishing a gardening magazine, like we own gardenseason.com, we own DIYprojects.com, we stack up 90 days worth of content there, right? 90 days worth of content that gets put into the system, and the system automatically sends those mails every day. So you can do all of your work for a month over one weekend and just let the thing run. Does that make sense? Does everybody get that? So here are some of the hottest markets I would suggest for you. Pets are an $11 billion market, and they're so fragmented that you could do a ferret owner's newsletter, or you can do ferrets or parrots. It doesn't matter. You can do dog. There are 1,170 dog breeds now. I know because we have a dog breeds journal thing, a blog that we did that we spent a lot of money on that never made any money because it was a blog. As a newsletter, if you've got a newsletter for Bichon Frise owners, you can make that work. And think about it. Again, it's a great market. if you think about these little yap dogs, I call them, these Maltese and Bichon Frises and all, who owns those? Who owns those little yap dogs? A lot of younger girls, a lot of younger women, more affluent people, and older people who have a lot of discretionary income. So would I rather have a newsletter for collie owners or Maltese owners? I would actually rather have one for Maltese owners, because that owner, the collie owner might be rich, they might be poor, I don't know. But that Maltese owner, they probably paid $3,000 for that dog. Does that make sense? So if you can do that, you really win. Family, anything that has to do with family activism, politics. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, I'm a liberal, I'm a tree hugger, I'm a hunter, whatever. These people all have their things that they're into. Family, anything that's funny is money. People love reading humorous things daily. Hobbies, clubs and associations, anything about career really works, because people stick around longer as a subscriber when you're talking about what they do for a living. And the CPMs, the advertising rates in career-related newsletters are much, much, much higher than they are in casual newsletters. The vehicles, events, holidays, space and science, people into space and science are really into it. Any kind of fitness, like my son's stuff, astrology, mystical stuff, personal development, music, nostalgia. There's so many markets for these magazines. You can't go wrong right now. And the answer is you don't do one, you do a lot. But I'll show you how to strategically do a lot rather than just doing a bunch of random crap in a second. And this is the big thing. Everybody's like, well, I want to be in this market because it's huge. The truth is, you can be in a much smaller market that has a much higher value. Like, for instance, you could be in a market where you're doing, cat photos, you're sending cute cat photo newsletters, right? That's probably going to have a really low CPM. So you may have 50,000 subscribers, but you're only getting a $15 CPM. So you're making $750 a send on 50,000 subscribers, and that letter may have a $75,000 immediate exit value, where you may only have 10,000 subscribers in the stock trading genre. That advertising with $85 CPM or $850 a send, and that much smaller, faster to build newsletter is worth more than the great big newsletter, because the value of the reader is higher, right? One of the things that's really cool about newsletters too, as the publisher, you control what gets advertised. Like, one of my favorite newsletters I've seen in a while was a student that did a tattoo newsletter. And I was like, why would you do a tattoo newsletter? You can't really sell people tattoos on the internet. It's hard to, right? But here's the thing. People that get tattoos like vaping. They tend to drink. They have certain lifestyles and things that they smoke cigarettes. They drink liquor. These are all things that you can't generally advertise at Google or Facebook, but they can advertise in your newsletter. So these restricted categories are willing to pay a lot of money to advertise in your newsletter, okay? I see Carol just paid attention to that one. She's watching now. So what do you do to get started? Well, number one, you got to choose a platform. If you're doing a single startup and you don't plan on really building a network, you can use something like Substack. This is a really great platform if you're just going to do one newsletter. It's an encompassing little platform, and it's great. You go start a newsletter there today. The problem, I'm going to tell you the problem with these. I'm going to tell you about them, and I'll tell you the problem with them. And there's Beehive. Beehive is a great platform. Again, if you want to be more of a single solution. The problem is that Beehive and Substack, once you've got the leads in their platform, that lead is in their platform. You kind of co-own that lead. You don't own it outright. And if you ever want to move it out of there, it's quite difficult, right? I stay away from them for that reason. But if you don't have any other choice and you don't have any other resources, it's a great way to get started. The second big benefit is email health. We built a list of 11 million subscribers with my blogs over the years. And to be honest with you, a lot of those subscribers are dead to me now. They stopped responding, yada, 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 but we kept them, right? And we were down to mailing only a few 100,000 people a day, which seems like a lot to most of you guys, but it wasn't very many to me. I've got to meet a payroll every month of 6 figures plus, right? So I have a big payroll I have to meet. So I have to mail a lot of people a day to make money. But we brought over 2 million leads back to life when we started sending newsletters, because we went back to our old subscribers and started re-engaging them with content versus just a bunch of promotions and ads. And look at this. You can see here, this is from Google Postmaster Tools. If you guys don't use Google Postmaster Tools, you should. Google keeps a reputation on you. It's kind of like a credit score, right? And you can see when we started mailing newsletters, our credit score was bad. This is over a period of 3 months, 3.5 months. We went from a bad reputation score to low, yay, we're low, to medium, and then finally to high. Well, what does that mean to you when you're mailing? Here's what it means. Every email that goes out right now, when you're having bad reputation, you might not get delivered at all. But most emails that go out get delivered, but it's where do they get delivered, right? Where are they being delivered? Are they being delivered in the spam folder, in the promotional folder, or in the priority inbox? Well, guess what? If they're delivered in one or two, there's a 98% chance that no human will ever see them. But look what happened to our priority box delivery. The green is priority box, the red is spam, and the yellow is promotion, right? Look at what happened over that same period of time to our email deliverability. So if you're trying to figure out how you're going to fix your email deliverability, the answer is newsletters. There's really no other answer right now that's going to fix it other than newsletters. I call it forced blogging, for lack of a better term. I follow this thing called the 7-11-4 principle, and it's a really strong principle. It came out of the dating relationships market. A guy won a Nobel Prize for this particular principle. And what it says is that in order for someone to be romantically involved with you, to become intimate with you as a close friend, to build a business relationship with you, you need to have them do 3 things. You would have certain expectations, right? And the expectations of dating and expectations of business are very, very similar. You would want to spend approximately 7 hours with me. You would want to have 11 interactions with me, text message, phone calls, love letters, drop by with whatever, and send you flowers or whatever, in 4 different locations before you would make a determination if I was somebody you wanted to be in a relationship with. This is an absolute proven scientific fact. You hear women talk about sometimes they have a 3-date rule. They're not going to be intimate with the dude until they've been on at least 3 dates. Well, guess what? That's usually, 7 hours of time, 11 messages going back and forth, and seeing that person in 4 different settings. This principle is absolutely scientifically proven. And the easiest way today to get that, to clock that time, is with a newsletter. There's no better way to build the intimacy of the relationship between you and the customer. And right now in our business, we're doing a lot of this. We call it 1-2 punches in our newsletter business. So most of our newsletters now, we don't send promotional emails out at all anymore. We only send content. Sometimes the content has no ads. Sometimes the content has no links. We just send out pure, useful content, because Gmail, what do you think Gmail does with pure, useful content? Goes straight to the top of the inbox, right? Because they're monitoring what you're doing. They're monitoring how long the reader's reading that email, if they're scrolling, if they're sharing it with a friend, if they're saving it to a folder. They're monitoring all those things to give you a score, a reputation score. So here's what we do. It's really freaking slick, man. Basically, you send out a newsletter. That a newsletter can be just one article. It can be just an article, like how to grow artichokes at home, right? That could be the newsletter today. How to grow artichokes at home. So I send that out to my gardening list and they get it, right? Everyone who opens that newsletter triggers another email. And I might send them a promotion for my artichoke growing kit. But the only people who see that promo are the people who read the article. They're already pre-framed and preconditioned to buy, right? This is the way online marketing is going to be done from now on. And if you're doing it the old way, you're wasting your freaking time. I promise you it's true, because I can't make it work. And if I can't make it work being in this business 3,000 years like I am, then I promise you, you ain't going to be able to make it work. This is an example of a cold traffic piece. We sent out a cold traffic promotion when we started testing all this, and the promotion had a 1.2% conversion rate, which is not great, but not terrible. I forget the dollar amount. I think it was about a $50 offer. When we sent 7 newsletters out to people that were unrelated newsletters, they were related, this was in gardening, they were related to gardening, but they weren't necessarily related to the subject here, and then sent out the promotion, we had an 8.1% conversion rate. So a 764% increase in conversion rate in 7 days, right? So I'm going to be a little bit, I hope not vulgar, but there's not a lot of difference. Think about it in a relationship. If I just walk into a bar and walk up to every girl that I see and say, hey, do you want to go sleep with me? My conversion rate's going to be pretty low. But if we went out on 3 or 4 dates over 7 days, what do you think is going to happen to my conversion rate? If I'm a nice guy and I'm taking her to nice dinners and we're hitting it off, guess what? My chances of hooking up go up exponentially. And yours do too when you're getting ready to sell somebody something. So that's the benefit of it. Now let's talk about the work of it. AI and RPA does all the work, right? This is a really cool screen I built some time back because I read an article about it. This is the Empire State Building. 17,000 people work in there every day. The average worker puts out about 750 words worth of work a day, or about 12 million words worth of work come out of there a day, right? So the payroll of the building is estimated around $11 million a day. But with ChatGPT, AI Turbo from OpenAI, you can do all that work for about $34. $11 million of the human work for $34 with AI. So this is the opportunity. You can write your newsletter with ChatGPT. You could just write your newsletter with ChatGPT. It's actually relatively easy to do. It doesn't format it as well, and it's not really built for that purpose. And sometimes it can be a little cold, a little encyclopedia-ish, but it will do the job. But it's actually, the content creation part is actually not very hard. We have a lot of ways that we research and find. Chad's going to show you in software in a minute how we find things to write about. But the next part, I'll let him talk about how you build the software, build the email, build the newsletter, because Chad's in charge of building the newsletters. He does all that, manages that process. Actually, Connie, his sweet main squeeze, is actually the one that does all that every morning. But next, you need to add subscribers. So there's a couple of ways to get subscribers. Number one, you could buy them. In traffic right now, if you just go out and buy subscribers, our people tell us that it costs about $2 to buy a subscriber. And Sam Parr, who sold The Hustle, said that he bought all the subscribers in The Hustle for about $2 a subscriber. That's what he paid to get subscribers. He just went out and paid money for them. Just ran ads and said, join my newsletter. It costs about $2 a subscriber. I don't do that. This is too expensive for me. I've got a different price I like to pay, and I'll show it to you in a second. But you can actually do what's called cross referral. You can do co-registration. So you can go to other newsletter subscribers and say, hey, when you get a subscriber, I'll pay you so much to share that subscriber with me. That's another way. SparkLoop does that, but it's a pain in the ass to set up, and I don't like their business model. We tried this. Most of our people failed at this, honestly, that tried to set it up. You can bribe them with contests. Join a contest, do a contest or whatever, and add yourself to my subscriber list. Contest leads are actually pretty inexpensive. You can usually get a reader with a contest for about 30 cents per subscriber. 30 cents. Now, you got to remember that the average email subscriber is worth between 50 cents and $4 a month on your list in advertising revenue. 50 cents to $4 a month, depending on the market you're in. If you're into cat pictures, you're probably going to be more in the 50-cent range. And if you're into stock trading, you're in the $4 to $5 range. So, and then everything in between there depends on commercial intent. But you can get subscribers for about 30 cents with contests. So you can see it's pretty lucrative. This is the price I pay for subscribers. I pay the same price for every subscriber. That's it. And the way I do it is using something called a tripwire model. I give away free stuff on the internet that's free plus shipping. I get enough money to pay for the shipping and the thing. And the people who fill out, a lot of people buy that thing to pay my advertising costs, right? So I break even. I break even on the advertising cost. But a lot of people fill out step 1 of a 2-part order form who don't go on to complete the purchase. But guess what? I get their name, their email address, their street address, and their phone number. So they all go on my newsletter subscriber list, whether they buy my widget or not. So I get email subscribers as a byproduct of my media funds. And this is the way you really scale. This is not the way we tell people to start, because you have to get your funnel dialed in a little bit with some organic traffic. But once you do that, you can press the gas pedal. And paid media, I've put as many as 30,000 subscribers in one day with paid media. And guess how much they cost me? Nothing. Because a certain percentage of those people going through that funnel went on to buy something, and now I recouped all my advertising costs back on the purchase. Little more advanced tactic, but it really works. It really works. And if you can find any of our newsletters, you can kind of see how that works. I don't like to give them out because then everybody goes and copies exactly what I do instead of being a little bit imaginative. I wish you wouldn't do that. But this is the way I get subscribers. And this is how we built our list to 11 million people. This one tactic, I've been using it for years. It's worked forever. The problem with me was I was stupid at what I did with those subscribers. I just hammered them with offers. I didn't give them any value, right? Super stupid, right? So think about all the places you can get subscribers that you're probably throwing away right now. You know, people that watch YouTube videos of yours, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, challenges, webinar registrations, TikTok. I mean, you name it. So many of those people, way more people are going to be unconverted leads. In other words, they're not going to buy what you're selling than are going to be buyers. And most people take those unconverted leads and throw them away as trash. The truth is, there's more money in the unconverted leads than there is in the buyers most of the time. Long term, there's more money there. Those people all become newsletter subscribers. Super simple. So if you've got a failing offer, you could still be making money by building revenue subscribers. Now, once you've got subscribers in your newsletter, there's a bunch of ways to make money. Premium subscriptions. This is one we really like. We sell physical newsletters, premium physical newsletters that go out in the mail to our email newsletter subscribers that have premium content that the free people don't get. Roughly 5% of people who sign up to be a newsletter subscriber will buy a premium newsletter subscription for under $10 a month, roughly 5%. So if you get 10,000 free subscribers, you're going to get 500 people willing to give you $10 a month to get your premium newsletter. That's $5,000 a month. It's not all the money in the world, but it ain't nothing to sneeze at, right? And remember, you can build as many of these newsletters as you want, all right? So you can programmatic advertising. We talked about that earlier with the platforms, direct advertising. This is people who come to you. You'll eventually get people who seek you out, who want to buy ads and want to sponsor, and you can call on other people. We do go out and call on other people. So it's so simple. When I start a new newsletter, my first command to the staff is that we go out and subscribe to every other newsletter in our market. Every other one. If there's 100, I want all 100 of them. Guess why? I'm looking to see who their advertisers are, because those advertisers are already advertising in a newsletter. All I got to do is say, hey, I saw you advertising in a newsletter. I own B newsletter. We have this many subscribers. Do you want to advertise with us too? Well, everybody who advertises wants to scale. So of course they want to advertise, right? Sponsored articles. Kraft does a lot of this. They'll actually send recipes to food bloggers or food newsletters to put the recipe in the newsletter versus just an ad. Because if they can get you to want to make the recipe and it requires Velveeta cheese to make it, guess what? Kraft makes money. List rentals. Some people will rent your list to send out solo promotions. Co-registrations. You know how I was telling you can buy subscribers from other people? You can also sell your subscribers to other people. That's a two-way street. Affiliate programs are huge. You can promote almost anything as an affiliate within your newsletter. You can sell behavioral data. And this is not even counting, you know what I didn't put in here? Your own stuff. This is all the stuff you can do without owning a product to sell, without having a service to sell. And I teach all of our people how to build your own services because the real money comes in, the biggest money comes in building your own service stacks. And we teach all of our people over at Night People the 4 boxes. Shauna knows what I'm talking about. I hammer my people over the head for the 4 boxes. It's the way I built every business I've ever owned. So premium subscribers, this is you look at Substack, they've got over 1 million premium subscribers. The Newsette has premium subscribers now. They're doing 40 million a year in revenue. This is the growth pattern of this industry is just crazy. And there's formulaic valuations. Do you remember I said Sam Parr paid $2 a newsletter subscriber? When he sold The Hustle, he sold it for $30 per newsletter subscriber. Bought them for $2, sold them for $30. I buy them for nothing, right? So, but now I always want to be super transparent. He got paid $30 per active subscriber. So he didn't get paid on every subscriber he ever bought. He got paid on the ones that he kept engaged. And that's why your content needs to be really, really, really good. Okay. And the AI can build better content than you can build yourself. I promise you. And I like to think in networks. Back to my old buddy Hurst here. When I got in the business, I realized something pretty quick. He had a quote I read in one of his articles that media begets media. And what he meant by that is I started with one media property, Survival Life. And I realized pretty soon that my survival people were into guns, investing, gardening, cooking, personal development, politics, alternative health, and DIY. Those were the things they were most interested in. So rather than just go out and start a bunch of other random newsletters, I started the American Gun Association and Gun Carrier, Garden Season, DIY projects, homemade recipes, The Capitalist. So I built properties that I knew that I could spike. So once you've got one property, you can build another one. Once you've got 2, it's even easier to build the 3rd. Once you've got 3, it's even easier still to build the 4th. Does that make sense to everybody? Because this is the way Hearst did it. He owned all these newspapers and then he started promoting magazines in his newspapers, right? And pretty soon he built a self-fulfilling prophecy that now is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, right? And we're doing that now in the newsletter world. And I need your help with it. I'll explain why in a minute. But this is a little decoy too. So not a lot of these make a lot of money. Most of these properties don't make a whole lot of money, right? But look at this. I make a lot in personal development, alternative health, and investing. So I'll bring people in through politics because there's a good percentage of them that are investing people, right? And a political lead will cost me 50 cents, where a financial lead would cost me $8. But I don't pay high prices for high value leads. I pay nothing for them. I just segment, sort, and sift the people who come in through my cheap lead sources and segment them out. For instance, a good example, RV owners make great stock investor leads. So an RV lead's worth about 75 cents a month. and a stock lead's worth about $4 a month. But about 30% of my RV owners are good stock leads. So I call it sideways list building. Now, what's really interesting, this goes further than you would think. So when I started DIY projects, we duplicated the Survival Life list to start DIY projects. So it was mostly DIY projects for men, but over time, women started getting in there, and it became lopsided that more women were using that property than men. And the number one thing they were looking up was DIY cosmetics. When we'd send out a newsletter, they would always click on DIY cosmetics. So guess what? We started makeuptutorials.com as another newsletter, and we started a whole new circle just for women. Naildesigns.com, you'resopretty.com. Get it? So, and you can actually sell off newsletters in marketplaces just like you can ads. So this company, Deuce, is owned by a friend of mine, actually. They're one of the biggest platforms for selling your newsletters or buying one. If you don't want to start one from scratch, you can buy one, but let me warn you, they're expensive, right? But you can, if you get tired of one of your newsletters or it's not growing the way you want it, stick it over here and sell it. You might get $25, $50, $60, $70,000 for it. And you can invest that in the next one. There's a marketplace for all this. Empire Flippers is good if you're selling a bigger newsletter, usually over $100,000. Flippa, there's a lot of people buying and selling newsletters on Flippa now. And you can make a lot of money doing this service as an agency. We've got one of our students in Ignite right now that claims, anyway, I don't have proof of this, but I believe it to be true. I know to be an ethical guy, that they're charging $2,000 to $5,000 a month to build newsletters for other businesses. And you can do them in 5 minutes a day. It's the greatest agency deal in the world. So phase 3 is ultimate scale. This is getting to where you can do this fully automated. And we built something called the SubSwap network. So I say we, and when I say we, you'll learn if you get to know me pretty soon. That means Chad built it. The SubSwap network is a way for our people to swap subscribers. So if you're in the network, if Carol's in the network and Julie's in the network and you both have something to do with cooking, right? Julie could, on the back of her newsletter, could say, hey, do you want to go join Carol's newsletter about, let's say Julie makes cakes and Carol makes barbecue, right? Then Julie could say, hey, you join my cake newsletter. My friend Carol has this amazing newsletter about barbecue. Do you want to join that too? Most people will say yes. 25, 30% will say yes. And then Carol agrees to do the same for Julie, right? And you guys, it's the rising tide that raises all ships, right? We've got about 400 people into this platform right now. It's a zero cost. So the lead comes in, the subscriber goes into here and goes to the swap lead, and then the swap lead goes backwards. And this is all technology that's been built by Chad. He'll explain how it works. He's much smarter than me. But there's about 400 people in the platform right now. They're not all active, but a lot of them are, and they're becoming more active. We just released this feature a little bit ago. So this is part of how we publish 19 daily newsletters with 2 outsourcers. We started off Chad built this really crazy system with generative AI, RPA, no-code software, and tech-enabled outsourcers. And it was complicated as crap, and nobody could do it other than Chad. And he eventually built it into software that the staff could run, because even the first level of software with Airtable and all that, it was a nightmare to run. And he was the only one that ever understood it. We all nodded and acted like we did, but we didn't really understand it. And then finally, we built Letterman.ai, and it does it all, inside one platform. And you can see here, this is what it looks like when we log into our account. We're about to send all of our newsletters out. It builds a newsletter, formats a newsletter, queues a newsletter, sends a newsletter. And I'd like to have Chad. Are you around, or did you go take a nap? If Chad's not here, I'm dead right now, because I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, thank God. Okay, cool.
I like doing that too. I'm here, man. I've listened to everything you said.
You scare me, but you can see here, like, look how beautiful these things look. I mean, they're just sitting there, and like you can see these. This was from a while back, but these are 3 that we published. These are approved and waiting publishing, and Chad can, I'd like for Chad to kind of recap and explain how the software works and all that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Chad. If you're ready, you can share.
So you just heard Perry talk about the SubSync exchange system. Everybody can see this screen, I take it? Okay, cool. So I got to tell you what I'm about to show you, and a lot of the people on our call, I know we have, if you're an Ignite member on the call, by the way, just give us a shout out real quick. Just say Ignite member here. Let us know that you're here on the call because everything I'm about to share, there they are. Look there's a roll call for Ignite, right? Everything I'm about to share, Ignite members experienced this firsthand, and they saw this very interesting journey, and that's what it's been. It's been a journey of trying to crack the code, and this is this SubSync exchange system. So Perry, we like to say, is always the why. Like, he's going to help you understand why it's important that you recognize this opportunity and that timing's everything. Now, I'm going to be more hands-on, and I'm going to be the button pusher. I'm going to say, hey, look, this is how we've been able to crack the code of this, and this is what we had to figure out. This is what we had to build to be able to satisfy that why, right? So I'm a little bit more strategic, and I just want to make sure, do I have permission to be a little bit more technical and strategic with you guys? And Perry sent me a message just now. He said, man, why don't you do a live demo of the software too? I wasn't expecting to do that, but that's okay. We can do that. So let me first show you 5 simple steps that we had to really figure out in our business, okay? So the first thing is, you heard him mention all the different niches and marketplaces that we're into, everything from guns to kitchen recipes to makeup tutorials. Man, I gotta tell you, it has been a very interesting journey for me, learning about all of these niches and marketplaces and everything. And the one thing that I know that all of them have in common is that we can make a lot of money when we have a newsletter for each one of those niches and marketplaces. And it doesn't really matter what the niche or marketplace is. What the thing that I think Perry talked about was some of those niches and marketplaces, depending on what we're looking at. If we're looking at people obviously interested in kitchen recipes and cooking from home, the value of that subscriber is not going to be as much as somebody, say, in finance, right? But for the most part, we have found that you can build a newsletter in virtually any niche or marketplace. So everybody that commented here and told us, this is what my niche and marketplace is, and this is what I like to build a newsletter on, I didn't see anything that made me say, oh no, that's a bad idea. You probably can't make that work, right? So the first thing is, what we've learned is we've learned how to go out there and automatically create these newsletters. We're now down to 2 VAs. I'm going to tell you the reason why I say 2 instead of 1, because the 1 VA could just be in here pushing buttons like I'm about to show you. But the second VA is actually going around and grabbing the newsletter and actually emailing it out to our subscribers, right? So we were doing this with, well, first of all, we started out with WordPress. Then we were doing this inside of our autoresponder. Then we started using ChatGPT. Then we were using other pieces of software. Nothing would do what we wanted to do, especially at the level that we wanted to scale, right? We have 19 newsletters going out every single day, and I'm hands off. The core team is hands off. The VAs pretty much handle all of that. And then you heard Perry talk about my lovely significant other. She gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning and just kind of reviews the content and makes sure that it's a fit for the audience. And the reason why is sometimes our VAs are from the Philippines and such, and they don't always understand, trending topics and things that, just wouldn't be of interest to our readers. So we have somebody here in America just kind of glancing at things saying, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and change this, or no, you're good to go. So what you see here on the screen, guys, this is a screenshot of our actual software. Now, I got a buddy of mine named Armando that has just been hanging around these parts and paying attention to what we're doing. I tell you, he is the laziest marketer on the planet. I would say that if he's on the call. If he is, love you, buddy. But you truly are lazy. And because of that, he has more success than most marketers I know. And what he did was when he started hearing about this whole newsletter thing, he went out there and he said, man, I want to do this on pickleball. I was like, well, then I guess go do it. Well, he had it done that day. And we had a follow-up call with our mastermind a week later, and he was on there and we were interviewing him and he was showing us his newsletter pages. And I think he was acquiring leads, don't quote me on this, but I want to say for about 38 cents. And you heard Perry talking about how we went back because we had physical addresses and we looked up those addresses, and what we found is half of those people lived in multi-million-dollar homes. So he's out there acquiring leads using this software for 38 cents that are living in million-dollar homes, right? So we have definitely stumbled on something pretty incredible. So I'm going to show you exactly how you're going to create this newsletter using the software that you see here on the screen. And then what's going to happen is when you get your newsletter created, you're then going to add it to our directory, okay? And this is a very easy process. I'm going to show you how we do this, but once the newsletter is created, you click a button, and what happens is you're going to tell us the name of your publication, the URL, something about your newsletter. You're going to have a description there, and then you're going to tell us, okay, my newsletter sends out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You're going to choose your categories. You're going to go into some more demographics about your newsletter, and that way we can match your newsletter with other people's newsletters. Is that making sense to everybody? I just want to make sure everybody's with me so far. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, like 1, I'm completely lost. 10, I completely got it. Type in the chat, let me know. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, good. Everybody's on track. All right, so the next thing that's going to happen, folks, we've gone out there and tested this 100 different ways and failed miserably. Everything that we thought would allow us to go out there and get the very best conversions, meaning everybody that sees this page, we actually want them to come over here and enter their email address. So if 50 people see this page and 25% of people enter their email address, that means we have a 50% conversion. This page right here typically sees a 70% conversion. I'm told an industry average is good at about 30%, 35%. But we had to go test this over and over and over and over and over. And every single time we went out there and we created a page, it dropped down to like 20, 30%. I'm like, I know we can do so much better than this. Well, we didn't figure it out ourselves. Instead, what we did was we went out there and modeled some of the top converting newsletters, took a look at their lead pages, their sign-up pages, and said, okay, now I know what we have to do. And of course, today, AI makes it really, really easy to create these headlines and these descriptions, newsletters, and everything else. But what we wanted to have happen was have these sign-up pages be inside of the software so that when somebody signs up, they're instantly able to get our newsletter. So what if I told you that this is not only inside the software, where even if you're somewhat technically challenged, you're not going to have to be, right? It's there waiting for you. And what if I told you that the software will go figure out your branding for you, your colors for you, and then it'll write your whole entire page for you. It'll write your headline, your description, and it'll even give you features down below that somebody might be interested in learning with their newsletter. Pretty awesome, right? So now what's going to happen is when somebody goes and signs up, okay, they are inside of your autoresponder, or they can be inside of our system. Okay, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. But remember when I said as soon as you create your marketplace, or as soon as you create your newsletter, you want to add it to our directory? Well, here's where this is really cool, okay? Let me bring this back here. So inside the directory, what you're then able to do is you're able to find people that are similar to your newsletter. So I'm from Wyoming, and of course in Wyoming, everything's hunting and fishing, right? So I could go out there and I could create a newsletter on walleye. Walleyes is the most amazing, delicious fish you'll ever catch. Not much of a fight, but my God, does it taste good. It tastes like a freshwater lobster, right? So I can go create a newsletter on walleye. And a good fit for me would be to go out there and find somebody else that has a newsletter on, say, bass fishing or fly fishing or something like that. Or if you look at this here, this sample, you can see that if we have a newsletter on survival life, then I might be able to go out there and find a newsletter on homesteading. Maybe that'll be a good fit. Or if my newsletter is DIY projects, I could go team up with somebody that's got simple DIY. And the reason why is because the subscriber that I have on DIY projects is probably most likely going to be interested in simple DIY as well. And so the way that this works is we create what's called a swap. And we built a system to handle everything for us. So I go through the directory and say, okay, you know what? This is something that I'm interested in. And what I do is I submit a proposal to that person. So if I have survival life and I see homesteading, or if I have DIY projects and I see simple DIY, I'm going to submit a proposal to simple DIY. So the publisher for simple DIY is going to get a notice that says, hey, Chad over here at DIY Projects would like to do a swap with you. And so what that means is, as I bring in subscribers, I'm going to refer them over to Simple DIY. And as Simple DIY brings in subscribers, they're going to refer them over here to DIY Projects. Now, where swapping has failed in the past, how many of you have experience with any type of swap? Whether it be solos or I don't know what type of swaps are out there, but here's where swapping has failed in the past. If only one person is doing the work, Adam says wife, that was not what I was talking about. But if only one person is doing the work, okay, then the other party is getting all the subscribers. And then what happens? Hey man, I've sent you 25 people like you see here. Why aren't you helping me out? Why aren't you returning the favor? Why aren't you putting people in my newsletter, right? That's a real problem. And so what we've done is we've built the system so that it will shut off. So if the other party's not doing their part, then guess what happens? It shuts off. So Jeanette says it takes a manager to keep up with both sides. No, it really doesn't, because the software will regulate it for you to make sure that each sides are putting in equal effort. Is that making sense to everybody? Just let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, is that making sense to everybody? And it's good to see you, Jeanette. Yes. Okay. Now understand, this is something that we had to have for our own business, right? So we're going to go out there and we're going to first set up a swap with somebody, and the system's going to handle everything for you. So now take a look at this here, guys. Let's bring it all home. So now this is a different sign up page that we know converts super, super high. And you can see here are the features for the newsletter down below. This could also be testimonials if you choose, or you can have one row that's features and one row that's testimonials. Completely up to you what you want to do. But now you're out there getting people to sign up from your newsletter. So you heard Perry talking about TikTok and Instagram and everything else, right? So people find interest in your topic and you say, I've seen this a lot on Facebook lately. Hey, if you want to join my newsletter or whatever, go to this link. So people go to a page like this, they enter their email, and now they're on your list where they're receiving your newsletter. And hang in there, because I'm going to actually do a demo of creating that newsletter here in a minute. But now here's what's awesome. What if I told you the minute that if I was to subscribe to the American Pickleball Association and I go enter chat@chadnicely.com, then what happens next is this window opens up right here, and I can put a video at the top if I wanted to, and it says you're subscribed. The American Pickleball also recommends, and look at this here, these are people that I am partnered with. So if I own the American Pickleball Association, and I don't, Armando owns it, okay? So Armando has this page. He has set up swaps with these people right here. Now, there's 3 of them featured, but we could go ahead and have 5 of them here. We could have 7 of them here. We don't recommend going beyond 5, but these are people that he has partnered with. And so what happens is the minute that somebody enters their email here, they're taken over here to this page. And now when they click this button right here, then this lead now went into this autoresponder, and this autoresponder. Or in other words, this lead is now going to receive the old time pickleball, all women's pickleball, and new games. And so what happens is, yes, this is a co-reg, right? So Armando just sent a subscriber to each one of his partners. Is this making sense to everybody? Now somebody's saying, yeah, co-reg, not pure swap. No, not exactly, because here's the thing. We are keeping track of how many subscribers he is sending. And at the same time, this old time pickleball also has a sign up page with this logo at the top. And when people are registering on that sign up page, then what happens? They're going to a widget just like this. And what do they see up here? They see the American Pickleball Association. So it is a true swap. And if Armando doesn't do his part, or Old Time Pickleball doesn't do his part, then the swapping feature will be disabled until the other party catches up, right? But the one that is current, they can no longer put people into the publication. They have done their job, and now it's time for the other party to catch up. And then once they catch up, then the swapping can continue. Very, very complicated logic, but we wanted to make it easy for the little guy to win. Is everybody getting this right now? So everybody on the call, I want to make sure, because this is our framework. This is what we've set up. We've had to use multiple platforms before, platforms that would never approve you. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and Ignite members can jump in here. We actually did a newsletter event, and we were relying on another third party that had a similar system to this. It wasn't a swapping system, but they did have the referral widget that you see over here. I was not the one that created this concept. And so we recommended everybody at the event to go ahead and get signed up for that service, because that's what we were using. Little did I know that 90% of the attendees at that event were going to get disapproved. So they were not able to connect the pieces at the event. And it was right then and there that we said, you know what? We're going to have to build this out ourselves. And not only that, we're going to have to make it easier. We're going to have to make it more powerful. And we're going to have to give people more flexibility to get set up, because we were using multiple systems to try to do this whole entire thing, right? So when you understand that, yes, this is a co-reg, but not only that, it's also a swap, because both parties are co-regging with each other, okay? Then you understand that what you're doing is you're taking these opt-ins and you're putting them either A, into an autoresponder, or B, you're putting them inside of our own system, okay? Now, we've done the impossible. I've got my tech guy here on the call. He's incredible. His name is Russell. Give a big shout out to Russell, because what we've been doing is finding every single autoresponder that you could possibly use in case you didn't want to use our email system, and we have linked it up into this system. And so what that means is, as soon as somebody enters their email here, you better believe it, it can go right inside of your autoresponder system, where the newsletter is now ready to be sent out. And yep, go ahead and type in some integrations here and let me know what you use. I see Go High Level. Of course, Go High Level's there. What else do we have? Feedbliss, never heard of that one. Beehive, of course we have Beehive. MailPoet, we actually do have MailPoet. Sendigle, yes. ConvertKit, yes. So we have most of the ones that are here, even Groove. We even have Mike's platform in here, Drip, Aweber, Send and Blue. Yes, and here's the thing. If we don't have what you're using, let us know, because we want to integrate with every single autoresponder on the planet. I know it sounds crazy, but that is our goal. So we did something a little bit different here, folks. We built a platform for the masses. Most people, if you look at any other technology that does this co-reg feature, they might make it work with 4 or 5 different autoresponders. Not us. At the time that the last time I checked, we had over 45 integrations that are working with this co-reg, right? And so what that means is everybody that enters their email here, they are either A, going into your autoresponder, or B, going into our own system, and I'll tell you about that here in a minute, or you're doing both, right? So you're getting subscribers this way, and each one of these subscribers are now receiving your email newsletter. And I think Perry's going to kind of help you understand the overall profitability. Just looking at some general acquisition numbers, how much you can acquire a subscriber for, how much that subscriber is worth. And then the overall plan one day is to get acquired or get gobbled up by somebody bigger. Because we're seeing some multi-million-dollar exits, 8, even some 9-figure exits, all with newsletters following the exact process that I'm showing you here on the screen. So you not only have subscribers coming in this way from your own efforts of social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. You'd even go out there and do solos, leveraging other people's lists. But on top of that, now you got these widgets that are out there that your partners who you're teamed up with are constantly pumping leads into as well. So you're getting subscribers this way as well. And what if I told you that whole entire system that we've been building out? When was the newsletter event, Perry?
Yeah.
You were unmuted. Now you're probably muted. But it was in November, right?
No, he was unmuted. He just muted
I'm
himself.
sorry. I'm sorry. I said something to my daughter. She was going by. I'm down at her place in Tampa right now. What was your question, Chad? I'm sorry.
When was our newsletter event?
November, I believe.
November. And we're getting ready to go into March. Russell can actually verify this. We have been working on this every single day since
the people that got it in November know how much better it is now. I mean, the people that got it it's not been sold to the public. It's only been given to our mastermind people as a beta. So they know how it was when it started. It was good when it started, but it's extraordinary now. It's like a whole different animal. And when we do the big reveal in a minute that these guys don't even know yet, I think everybody's going to be even more impressed. But
yeah, so let me kind of show you guys real fast. How many of you would like to see an actual live demonstration of how fast we can create a newsletter? And I'm going to ask for Perry's help on this. You can see right now I have my whole entire team on here. So far, they've sent out 2 newsletters today. By the end of the day, all 19 of these newsletters will be here, right? So if we come over here, there's a familiar face. It's going to be on a lot of newsletters for a long time. But when I come over here and I click on newsletter publications, and let me just make sure I'm logged into the right account as the right user. Okay, good. You can see that we have all of these publications here. Okay. Now, remember what I told you. This software has been set up to be able to handle multiple newsletters. Does everybody understand that? It wasn't just one single newsletter. We knew that we had all these properties. And we also know that Perry teaches, look, if you got a newsletter that makes you $100 a day or whatever, go out there and, create 5 or 10 newsletters, right? Because now you're up to $1,000 a day on little teeny tiny newsletters that are, some are making 100, some are making 200. You might get one that eventually makes you 500 or 1,000 a day, right? Who knows? The sky's the limit. So we needed to create a system that would allow us to do multiple newsletters. Not only that, notice over here on the right, we needed to have a system that will keep track when the newsletters were supposed to send out, right? Now I'm going to come over here and I just want to make sure that I am on the latest version. Yeah, okay, good. So here's all of our newsletters. And by the way, I want to give Perry just a heads up real quick. Somebody give me an idea for a newsletter that we can create like right now. And Perry, maybe you can help me and you could make a little logo.
I'll go create a logo for it. Somebody give me a name.
Yeah, I'll let you choose it. That way they don't think this is set up or anything.
I like the sneaker thing is okay. Let's do sneakers.
Sneakers.
Like sneaker collectors.
Is that a thing? Sneakers, that's a thing? Okay.
Huge thing. Multi-$1,000 sneakers.
Whoever said sneakers, come up with a name for your newsletter. Come up with a name for your newsletter. Who said sneakers? Let me find you. Sneaker Cash. Okay, you like that name, Perry?
Say again.
There's the Sneaker Insider. Does that work? Oh, he's got it. Okay.
There you go.
So watch this. Let's do this for reals. Let's come on over here. And what do we have? We have the Sneaker Peeker. Okay. I don't think that's what they said.
I don't think that's the way you spell it, but you get the point.
I just realized that. Okay. So we'll come over here. Let me just go ahead and find.
At least I didn't have Sneaker Pecker.
All right. So we'll go ahead and put this logo here. There we go. We got the Sneaker Peeker. Sneaker.
Ooh, you know what I would actually name it? I'd probably name it Sneaky Pete.
Sneakers. All right. Right. This is, somebody could give me a description. We're going to have all this. I just realized this now as I'm shooting this. I'm going to have AI do this for you too, right? This is a newsletter on the hottest trends in the world of, I guess they're luxury sneakers, right? Luxury sneakers. I've seen some of those things for like $3,000, right? So what do we want to do? Let's send out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, right? So the categories, let's see if we can figure this out. Sports, I don't know, news, finance.
I'm putting you some sneaker links in the chat, Chad.
Okay, I'm going to say fashion and beauty because I don't really know, right? And I'm sure you're going to tell me that it's mixed both male and female, right? Lifestyle. Okay, see, there you know. Okay, lifestyle. Where did we see lifestyle? Okay, cool. Almost male. Age range, I don't know. I'm going to say these two. I have no idea. I know nothing about this niche. What would the audience income level be, Perry?
Probably 6 figures or more.
Okay.
70 to 200,000. Yeah, probably.
Okay, so I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go ahead and click this. The members haven't seen this yet. And I'm going to say add publication. Okay. And now what's happened is we just added our Sneaker Peeker newsletter. How many of you can do this? Yes or no? Let me know. I just want to make sure that everybody is saying, you know what, that's something I can do. Because all the Ignite members on this call will tell you that this is absolutely something you can do. Okay? All right. Now, this newsletter is set up to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Okay? So now it's going to keep track of when your newsletter should go out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Newsletter. Now, once I've done that, it goes ahead and brings in our logo for us. And I'm going to go ahead and make this logo a little bit lower, a little bit smaller. There we go. Look at Perry's got a trademark on it and everything. And now what we can do is we can go ahead and start dragging in our blocks. So I'm going to come over here and somebody give me a video on sneakers because I know nothing about sneakers. Who's got a video on sneakers?
I'll get you.
Okay. Yeah, I know absolutely nothing about this.
Show them the trivia thing while I'm grabbing this.
Yeah, sure. So this little smiley face here, guys, it knows that we're writing a newsletter on sneakers. So I want to go ahead and start out with a trivia question at the top. This has been our little secret here. to get people to scroll all the way to the bottom. So look what it says. In the world of sneakers, what iconic Nike silhouette is known for its visible air cushioning unit running the full length of the shoe and was famously worn by Michael Jordan during the 91 NBA season. So I got my trivia question here. And now what we can do is if we come over here and if we grab this video link, let's go ahead and come over here and let's grab the video link and let's put this here. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead and put in this video URL. And I don't care about round, solid, all these features here. All I want to do is update this section here. Okay, is that what you like?
Yeah.
All right, give me an article.
I dropped all of the articles that Perry put into the chat at the bottom.
All right, so let's come back over here, guys, and let's do an article review. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drop this block.
So you'll understand what this is doing, guys. It's basically going out and writing almost a tweet for each of these articles and then sending people onto those articles. And that's fine. And people are like, well, that's not helping me. It absolutely is helping you. You want to send the very best content you can find to the readers. I always say, like, if you had a toothache and somebody cut out an article from their local newspaper, mailed it to you about how to get rid of your toothache and your pain went away, you wouldn't be grateful to the writer. You wouldn't be grateful to the newspaper. You wouldn't be grateful to the publisher. You wouldn't be grateful to the mailman. You'd be grateful to whoever cut out that article and sent it to you because it was helpful. All we're trying to do is build goodwill and trust with our audience here.
Yep. So I'm dragging in these blocks. And how long did it take you to find these articles that you sent me, Perry?
A minute.
And this is what we have our VAs do. They go and find relevant articles to whatever the niche and marketplace is. Look at that. That's a great fit, right? Perfect fit, right? So we can very easily start to populate this newsletter, but then we can come over here and we can have some fun, right? And so not only can we do a trivia question, we'll put the trivia question at the bottom, but we can do a quote of the day, joke of the day. Let's do interesting facts and let's see what that brings up, right? So I could put a title on the top of it that says interesting facts, but look what it says. Sneakers were originally called plimsolls in the 1800s before they were given the name sneakers due to their supper rolls allowing wearers to walk quietly without making noise. No idea. The world's most expensive.
I can promise you, by the way, Chad knows zip about sneakers. So do I. So if you know something about a subject, this is 100 times better. But if you don't know anything, you can still do it.
Give a girl the right shoes and she can conquer the world. Marilyn Monroe. It just went and pulled that quote of the day, right? How about this one? Let's come down here, and all it's doing is pulling this. So I guess I could type in luxury sneakers, maybe. I don't know. I really know nothing about
collector sneakers. Probably.
Collector sneakers. Yeah, I know nothing about them. I know that my stepson will not be spending that much money on sneakers, right? So let's do Q&A questions. Let's see what it brings up. What is the most sought after collector sneaker? The Air Jordan 1 Off-White is currently one of the most sought after sneakers. How can I authenticate a collector sneaker? Look for details such as the quality materials. And I can change this, by the way, right? So how can I authenticate an Air Jordan 1 or sneaker 3 or whatever, right? Again, I know nothing about any of this stuff, right? But now I can come in here and I can type my headlines in here and I could say, did you know? And I can go and I can put emojis here. I can do everything that you would expect to find inside of a newsletter, right? And if I'm in the right account, let's say that I was also selling sneakers, right? So if I got sneakers on Amazon or whatever, that are selling for $1,500, I could actually add them into my monetization center up here at the top. And I could go ahead and say, okay, pull in sneakers. I don't have sneakers per se, but we do have shirts, right? So I could go ahead and say, okay, let's go ahead and do this. And I could go through and choose my image. I could have multiple images, right? And I could go ahead and say update. And now when somebody clicks on this image here, which could be your sneakers, it will redirect to your landing page. Now, again, I know zero about sneakers, but how many of you would have believed that if somebody actually went through and read this newsletter that was interested in sneakers, they would probably be pretty happy with it. They would probably be pretty satisfied. It's pretty interesting, right? So let's come over here to the bottom. Let's go ahead and put the answer to the trivia question. I don't want to put it there. I want to put it at the bottom. There's the trivia question. The Air Jordan 1 sneakers released in 1985. I can put borders here. I can do all this stuff. But my point in showing you this, because I don't want to take too much time, is I wanted to show you how fast you're able to go and create a newsletter. Is this making sense to everybody? Scale of 1 to 10, how many of you believe that you can do what I just showed you? Very simple. And we're just at the bare infant stages of this. And the reason why is because we've been so focused on making sure that we have the right landing page that converts, as well as the whole entire referral system all built out, so that you just weren't building newsletters, but you were also taking your newsletters and bringing in subscribers. You were able to grow your newsletter. That's been our core focus, right? Did you have anything to add on this, Perry? I got housekeepers here too. Timing could not.
No, not right now. I'm good.
Do you hear a lot of noise in the background? Hopefully not.
No, we don't.
Cool. Okay, so let me look at some of the comments here. No, yes, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 15, 10, 10, 10. So if you are currently using Letterman, do me a favor and type in the chat here and let people know what your experience has been. We have some people that are inside a beta, right? And they haven't even seen the new features yet. They haven't even put their newsletter in the marketplace yet. They haven't even set up swaps yet. They haven't done anything, because this is the big official launch. This is the big official announcement to all of our new features. And this is the follow-up from the actual newsletter event, right? So now somebody asked me, how did you pull that shirt in? Well, we have a built-in monetization library. So see over here where it says Monetization Center? Obviously, we're in the print-on-demand business, but look here. I have pickleball paddles over here, right? That's not real. That was used for a demonstration. It definitely sticks out. But these shirts, we actually put in there every single day. So you're able to come in here and simply load as many images as you want, so that you're able to choose a different image every day. You put in your URL, you choose your category, and now I showed you how fast you can go about actually loading your shirts, or in this case, your sneakers, or whatever you have into your library. So now if you look at the comments here, right? Look what Eric is saying. Don't take my word for it. So easy to use and start implementing today. Just start clicking and build out. Easy to build out newsletters, but can't really do much with that. Really excited to start sending. I love Letterman. So easy to use, makes very attractive newsletters. I'm only looking for people that are using the actual software, right? Keith says, I'm using Letterman, still working, just saw the directory, excited. Yeah, none of them have seen this. And now Chris is asking me to demo the avatar feature. I wasn't going to do that, but hey, let's go ahead and do this. So the point of an avatar is, when we write our newsletters, we want to write it in the voice of somebody that knows something about sneakers. So
yeah, that was somebody asked a minute ago in the comments. So why does it seem dry? And it seems dry because there's no avatar created for the sneaker guy yet. If you had a sneaker expert, you build an avatar for the sneaker expert, it's going to talk like a sneaker expert, right? But when you don't have an avatar, the content does come out kind of dry. But he can build an avatar here in, I don't know how far down the rabbit hole we want to go, but we can build an avatar in a few minutes. But that speaks in that voice, like we use in finance.
Do a fast demo. What's your avatar name, Jerry?
Jimmy
Sneaker, right?
Jimmy Cole. Let's make him Jimmy Cole.
Jimmy Cole, I know that name. All right, let's click add. All right, so now watch this, guys. We're gonna come over here. I could go ahead and load my own stuff if I want to, but I'm gonna say,
Jimmy, call him Jimmy the Sneak. His nickname is Jimmy the Sneak
Okay.
instead of Jimmy the Greek.
Okay. Good. I'm just going to skip anything about him. Where does he live, though? He lives in Vegas, yeah?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
I said that because I bet you can't spell Philadelphia.
How did I do? I actually lived there.
I don't know.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and start. And this is actually Perry's prompt, right? So I want you to create an avatar specializing in sneaker collection. Okay, cool. So it's going to do that. He says, okay, here's everything that you needed to do, right? He says, okay, yep, I get it. I'll do this, just like AI does. And then what it's going to do is go out there and find the best 10 YouTube channels on collecting sneakers. Is that a thing? So
Yep.
Here we go. There are the experts on YouTube, right? So we click next step. Who are the 10 best collectors?
This is all happening in real time, by the way, guys. Is this not crazy?
Yep. So identifying the best in the world. Okay, there they are. I have no idea who these guys are. I'll just take your word for it, right? Next step, create an avatar who has full knowledge of all these experts. So what's going to happen is you guys are creating the perfect voice for your newsletter, right? So we open this up. I can promise you a lot of our beta users don't even know that this does this. Let's create a depth profile of our avatar by the name Jimmy Cole, right? So it's going to do that. And then it's going to go through and it's going to say, okay, here's his name. Here's his passion. Here's his expertise. Here's his style. Signature style is a blend of streetwear, fashion, urban flair, vintage sneaker. I imagine that this guy is going to speak our language, right? So then we say next step. What else would our readers want to know about Jimmy?
That's how you just that's just how you hired an expert full-time writer for free, by the way, guys. And we can write full feature articles in here. This could write a 750-word article on any subject that has to do with sneakers now in just a few minutes from Jimmy's perspective.
Yep. So we're almost done. And so what's cool about this is you don't have to come up with your own prompts and everything, even though ChatGPT and all that's really simple. Here is the final response, right? And so what we can do is we can go ahead and save this to our profile. I don't want to save it because I don't want to screw up the team. They get really confused. But now the software will save this whole entire profile and it will go and study it and it'll learn who Jimmy is. And that way, when it writes the newsletters, it can write it in that voice. Is this making sense to everybody? And you can see what Curtis is saying, that's the secret sauce. Yeah, it's secret sauce that a lot of people don't know how to do. So we automated the whole entire process for you, right? The whole process. So let me see if I can get back. I don't want to take too much time with this, Perry, because we're already like way over.
Yeah, we're way over.
Right? So the question that I have for everybody here on the call, how long have we been, Perry?
We've been about almost 2 hours.
I'll tell you what, before I talk about this, do you want to cover what you have? And
Yeah, let me do that real quick because I just want to see how people are feeling and
perfect.
And recap a little bit. So because I've got some Q&A. We'll try to answer a couple of questions at the end if you got some time. I'm going to try to share screen. Yeah, there we go. So basically, I guess hopefully by now you figured out that you got to own your own audience. If you don't own your audience, you're screwed. It's like I told my own son. This is advice I gave to my son yesterday. Forced blogging demands attention, so people can't get away from it. AI does 99% of the work, and you see that AI actually does the work better than you would actually do the work, which is the amazing part. You don't have to have a team. You just create employees. You create instant employees. There are multiple streams of revenue. A lot of them are practically automated. Newsletters earn and they build value. The setup investment is super, super, super low. Leads are free if you use the tripwire system like I do, the two-part order form system or a subswap method. And there's about 400 entrepreneurs already in the system. So I guess what you got to ask yourself is what's next for you? What are you going to do? Do you hear the opportunity knocking here, guys? This thing, it's not knocking, it's kicking down the door, right? I hope that you see that, what you've missed before in your attempts like me, I really screwed up. I've probably wasted $100 million in blogging cost, value that I could have built rather than building blogs by building newsletters. And I think you all believe it's something you can do. If you don't, at this point, man, you might need to look at a Starbucks career. Do you think that following our system would help you? I would hope that you would. And would you want to be part of our network? Because we've got a sneaky, ulterior motive. If we get a lot of people in the network, everybody in network wins, including us. So we want a lot of people in this network. We want a lot of people publishing newsletters on a lot of topics in the network. And when you win, we win. So it's our job to try to help you be successful. We make a little bit when you make a lot, and that's the general idea, right? So, you really got three choices at this point. You can either choose to, go back to doing whatever you were doing before, do nothing, which is what ordinary people will do. They'll come to these things, they're entertaining, they learn something, and they do nothing. Go do this on your own, and you can certainly do that. Like I said, I'm always for the scrapper. If you decide to go do this on your own and do the school hard knocks method, you can absolutely do that. But if you really want to build an empire, a publishing empire, if you want to build something big and you want to have industrial strength tools to do it with, then we want to invite you to become part of our group and part of what we do. And Chad will, kind of walk you through what that looks like and becoming part of our network. We want you to be. It's a lot of fun. We got as you can tell from some of the people here, we got a good group. So I'll stop real quick, and Chad, you can go back to where you were. But I just want to make sure that everybody gets it. And whether you do something with us or not, go publish a damn newsletter. I just had one of my good friends, Jeanette, sent me a thing, says, if I don't go do this newsletter thing now, you should fire me as a human. And I love Jeanette to death. But I just want people to do this. Whether you do it with us or you do it by yourself, I don't really care. But I want to hear what happens. I want to hear that you did something instead of just going on these classes and learning things and then going back to the TV eating ice cream. It drives me bananas. I don't understand it. So Chad, walk them through what it looks like to work with us. And if you want to work with us, great. And if you don't, it's cool. We're good either way.